Hello everyone, my name is Ana and I'm the owner of Savvy Cat Realty. Today I would like to tell you a bit about myself and how Savvy Cat Realty came to be. So I'm Ana, I'm 30 years old and I'm an entrepreneur. I started being an entrepreneur straight out of university because basically my father dropped a project on me, and the village he used to live in with his parents is a big farm estate that was falling apart and still is. He just came and told me, okay, you have to do something about this or it will fall apart. And I wasn't very happy about it at the time because I had other plans and like, what the hell? I want to do other things with my life, but I knew it was something very important for him and I decided to do it anyway. So I developed the whole project for a charm hotel. I worked with architects, engineers, interior decorators. I've made the whole business plan. I went through a few entrepreneurship courses during the process. And then we applied to public funding, and I don't know if you know this yet, but Portuguese bureaucracies are not an easy thing, and I ended up being stuck with that. And eventually I decided I will just find a way to fund this myself, and that's one of the reasons I started this, because I believe I have skills that can help people find property in Portugal and get the most out of it. So as you probably realized, I've been dealing with real estate for quite a while. My family has a lot of property and my father always tried to keep me involved in it, on the renting, selling, buying, renovating. When I was 13 years old, he decided to renovate part of the estate, the farm estate. He always kept me on the loop. He would take me to the meetings with the architect. He would always show us the progress on the projects, and even we went to pick up materials in the stores and finishing like the tiles and woods and so on. And I didn't value that at the time because I was a teenager and I couldn't care less, but I realized how valuable that all was now. So I've been managing property for a very, very long time. And I also bought my own property. When I went and moved to the Algarve, I decided to buy my own property because I just found that renting prices were not justifiable, and it was a much better investment to just buy. So I did that. I bought an apartment, and then I sold it when I moved out of Algarve. But I would like to tell you a bit about my experience with real estate agents because I wasn't impressed at all. Truth is, I probably was a bit underestimated because I'm young and people don't expect young people to know about property at all. So I don't know if agents were purposely trying to cover my eyes or if they really just didn't know what they were talking about, but overall I didn't really find a very positive experience when I was trying to buy, and I found that most agents weren't very knowledgeable at all when it comes to property. And eventually I just decided to go private and buy directly from the seller, and that's what I did. So I bought my apartment in the Algarve in Portimão, and it was in a very, very good building for 140k. And then I went on to sell it 3 years later. It was in 2020 that I sold it in February. So I was very lucky. It was just before the things blew. So I sold it for 178k. It was a good option, I believe. And I didn't have any problems with the apartment. It was a very great apartment. I'm a bit sad that I sold it, but it was the decision that made sense for me. So all this to tell you that real estate in Portugal can be tricky, and the commissions are really high, to be honest. The average commission in Portugal is 5%. I saw lower, sometimes the lower I saw is I think 3.5%, but it's very, very rare. And there's also higher, up to 7%, but the standard is pretty much 5%. I decided also to do location independent service because ever since I can remember, I've been going around the country. I've moved like 10 times in my life. It started when I was 7 years old, then I went and did primary school on a different city, then I went and did high school on a different city, then I went and did university on a different city, then I moved again. So I've been moving all my life. And on top of that, my father was a firm believer that we should know our own country before we went outside. So every year he would take us on a trip of 1 to 2 weeks around different locations in Portugal. And we saw a lot of it like this, and it was great. Although when I'm in my teenage years, I didn't appreciate it as much as I should. But that's teenagers, isn't it? We all been there. Then I started and went and moved around on my own. So I decided to create a Viking itinerary tavern. That was my second business. It's still active, it still exists. We did mostly events like medieval fairs and festivals. And once again, I went all over the country and discovered a bunch of new places. So I'm very comfortable with my knowledge of Portugal, and even though I don't know every single city, no one does, I know pretty much every area, and I know the cultural aspects, the climate, and the social aspects, and I believe I would be very good at helping people finding a match for their personal needs if they want to come and live here. So this is how I created this business. I believe it's a win-win situation to help people that want to come here find the ideal place for them to live, and also help them find good deals on property and screen the property when it comes to quality and future investment and return. Because I do this for myself, so why not I should do it for others? And that's how Savvy Cat Realty came to be. So thank you so much everyone for watching. I think that's all for today. If you do want to have a chat with me, feel free to drop me a message. We'll be booking discovery 45-minute calls, and those will be basically consultancy calls when I will see if we're a match, if we're not, or if I decide I'm maybe not the best person to help you, I will still point you in the right direction to get the best for what you want. So feel free to drop me a message and I will be very happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching.